So far, we have seen some storms, but as far as the strongest storms, they have been outside of Maryland, up towards Lancaster, PA, Chester County, Pennsylvania, now under a tornado warning. Here at home, it actually does look like we do have a tornado warning in place. So just give me a second to look at this information. This is going to be on the eastern shore. Again, we do have a tornado warning in place for Kent and Queen Anne's County until 5:30 this afternoon. Again, Kent and Queen Anne's County under a tornado warning. Let's go ahead, zoom in, see what's going on with this. It's moving at about 30 miles an hour right now. Again, tornado warning just issued. Kent, Queen Anne's County, 5:30. So right now we're looking at areas of Chestertown. We've got some of those stronger storms coming down right now. Lots of lightning, heavy rainfall, and this is included in that previous severe thunderstorm warning that was previously in place for Kent and Queen Anne's County until 5:30 this afternoon. So again, we've got this tornado warning. It's moving off to the east right now. Getting a quick look at what's going on as far as the winds within the storm. We always look at the winds. What are they doing? Are they rotating? Are they spinning around each other? Watching areas of Chestertown right now, around Rolfs, around Ewingville. You are in this line of this tornado warning, 544 included in this. So this does overlap with the same areas that were in the tornado warning previously issued at 2:45. So once again, these areas are included in yet another tornado warning as this moves off to the east. So we do have some bright greens, some bright reds included in this, circling the area that I'm watching. It's not a very tight rotation as far as those storms go, but we are watching bright greens, bright reds right next to each other. So there is some rotation around the Chestertown area, just to the west of Ewingsville, northwest of Churchill. If you're under the sound of my voice in any of those towns, you need to be heading to your safe place right now. So again, we are keeping an eye on those areas specifically, but downstream of that, we do have Crumpton, Churchill just on the edge of that tornado warning, Sudlersville, Millington, Peters Corners, Massey, Crumpton, Pondtown, all included in that tornado warning that is currently in place. I'm going to see if I can get some information from the National Weather Service. This was issued from the Mount Holly office not too long ago. We could see some small hail with this, but they're not really saying too much as far as that warning goes. Going to get a speed on that storm for you as well. These storms were moving at 30 to 35 miles an hour. This is a radar indicated rotation, and you do see just outside of that polygon. I'm going to switch it over to the radar. You may be a little bit more comfortable with seeing. There was a little bit of rotation being indicated around the Chestertown area by our computer system. You're seeing a lot of lightning bubbling up around Chestertown. So if you're in Chestertown, especially parts of the western side of town there, I still want you to get into your safe place. Lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. If you live in an apartment, head to the lowest floor, grab your phone, grab the CBS News app if you don't have it already, and make sure you're getting down to the lowest level of the stairwell that you possibly can. Now, this storm was marked as moving east at 35 miles an hour. We still do have that severe thunderstorm warning that is in place. So not only are we watching for rotation with this storm, we're also watching for straight line wind damage potentially as this continues to push off to the east. Now with this latest scan, it looks like we may have seen that rotation area now moving into the tornado warning polygon. So right around this area that I'm highlighting here, Route 213 to the west of Ewingville, northwest of Churchill. We're watching this area, a very broad rotation there, but a rotation nonetheless. It was enough for the National Weather Service to pull the trigger on a tornado warning. And we will have this in place as we go to the 6 o'clock hour. So I'm going to stay with you here on the air, keeping you updated with this rotation, with this storm. We're starting to see some bright greens here up along 213. We may actually be seeing this rotation tightening up just a little bit. I want to zoom in a little bit more around the Ewingville area. 544, we're watching this same area that we saw earlier this afternoon with the tornado warning that we had in parts of the eastern shore. So I'm going to watch this area specifically around Ewingville. We also do have meteorologist Cutter Martin in Studio A keeping an eye on the latest data. And Cutter, do you have any information from the National Weather Service? They're not saying very much with this storm, but they've got a lot to watch with a few other storms in the area as well.
Yeah, the National Weather Service office in Mount Holly, of course, had a busy afternoon. They issued that earlier tornado warning. Now this one, no reports of any damage or anything like that. And of course, that would be a telltale sign if we'd have a tornado on the ground, if we were getting more reports of, trees coming down or anything like that. So far, Rachael, we have not. But again, this is just moments old. We broke in the middle of a newscast here for you. And sometimes there's a delay between when we get these reports in or when the warning is issued and when we get those reports in. Again, something we're going to continue to watch here pretty closely in the First Alert Weather Center. And we can actually go forward in time to give you a little bit of a window as to what may happen in some of our eastern shore counties where we have that warning in effect. Basically, the worst of the weather is right now. And then we're going to see that risk of a tornado diminish here over the next handful of hours as these showers and thunderstorms push off of the eastern shore and back into the true Delmarva and out of the WJZ viewing area. So you have about now through the top of the 7 o'clock hour, even though that extends beyond the tornado warning. If you're watching from Talbot County, if you're watching from Caroline County, Dorchester County as well, this line of storms, which has a history of producing straight line wind damage and spinning enough to prompt tornado warnings, it's going to take just a little bit longer to push through the lower reaches of the eastern shore, Rachael, here. And certainly the environment is capable of causing these storms to spin quickly enough, rotate enough to prompt tornado warnings. But so far, no evidence that there has been a touchdown in that spot. But as you were mentioning, the rotation tightening up just a bit within the past few moments.
Yeah, Cutter, and it's still pretty tight, the reds and the greens that we watch for with these storms. I'm still looking at this Ewingville area. That green and that red still very, very close together in that region. So that's what we're definitely keeping a very, very close eye on is Ewingville. That's 544. You're seeing up towards McGinnis. Please pardon me if I do mispronounce that. But that's the region where this rotation is being detected on the eastern shore right now. We've got this tornado warning in place until 6 o'clock. This storm is moving at about 30 miles an hour. And I do want to quickly zoom out just to show you what else is going on. And I'm going to switch back over to the radar that you're used to seeing. This storm is not only producing rotation, but also a considerable amount of lightning. This is the strongest storm that we have right now in the state of Maryland. We've got a number of other storms, not much lightning, just heavy rain with these showers and storms that through, but this storm on the eastern shore has absolutely exploded with the amount of lightning that it has, and that was embedded within a larger, let me zoom out just to show you that yellow area. That is a severe thunderstorm warning that had been in place for a little while, but then this storm started to show some rotation as it continued to push off to the east and intensify. And this, again, I can't stress this enough. These are the same areas that we had the tornado warning for earlier today, around that 2 and 3 o'clock time frame. We were on the air keeping an eye on Kent and Queen Anne's counties. And once again, these same areas are under a tornado warning. And Cutter, I see you've got the safety tips up. What do folks need to know?
Yeah, basically the same general rules we always give you, put as many walls between you and the outside conditions for your safety. Again, the most dangerous part of a tornado is not the wind itself, but what's picked up in the wind, what is blowing around in the wind. A lowest floor of your home and an interior room like a hallway or closet. This could be a basement. If you don't have a basement, first floor. Just bottom line, don't go upstairs, stay downstairs or get lower if you can. So interior stairs like a stairwell closet, interior hallway, a laundry room, even a kitchen closet, kind of the pantry area can certainly be a place to go. No windows, lowest floor of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside dangerous conditions. That's why we often say the middle of your home on that first floor basement is going to be the best bet. And again, Rachael, looking at the structure of this storm as it moves deeper into the eastern shore, kind of tightening up a little bit. I'd be really interested to see what velocity it looks like right now, possibly taking a peek at that debris tracker as well, which you have up now as we monitor this area of rotation.
And they just shaved off a little bit of that western part of the warning. It's a little hard to see on that purple background, but a little bit of debris being detected in that same Ewingville area right here. So you look for something that's a bit of a different color than the color surrounding it. It's not a very strong signature. For a strong signature, we would look for the blues surrounded by those purples and pink color, but it is something to watch because it overlaps with what Cutter mentioned. We've got this debris signature, but we also have this rotation, that red and that blue, right next to each other. And let me actually zoom out just a hair. I'm looking at some from the National Weather Service, and they have issued a second tornado warning. That one will continue through 6:15. This is going to be for Queen Anne's County into Kent County, Delaware. So Queen Anne's County until 6:15, a second tornado warning has been issued, and it's also producing extensive straight line wind damage potentially within this second tornado warning that was just issued. So we have one that goes until 6 o'clock. We have a second one now that will continue through 6:15, and that is all within another severe thunderstorm warning. A new one was actually just issued with a tornado possible tag. That will continue until 6:30. The severe thunderstorm warning will continue through 6:30. So let's just show you where everything is. There's a lot happening, and I'm also going to show you, here's the original tornado warning that we came on for. This goes until 6 o'clock. Clear that off. We have this second tornado warning. That one continues through 6:15. Let me move this so that we can see it behind our banner there. So again, this second tornado warning, this one can 6:15. This one is for Queen Anne's County into Delaware. And then we also have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. A new one just issued. This is the new one. It's a little bit, again, difficult to see. We're going to do a reset here in a second, but this severe thunderstorm warning, this will continue until 6:30. So this will come from the eastern shore of Maryland to Delaware as it continues to push off to the east. And you notice this little icon here just spinning away. That's showing you that there is some rotation within these storms being detected by our computer systems here in the First Alert Weather Center. So let's switch things back over to the radar. Just to show you, this storm is very, very powerful as it continues to push off to the east. And it's moving at about 30 to 35 miles an hour to the east. And with the lightning, even if you're not in the tornado warning, but you're in that severe thunderstorm warning, lightning is a huge concern. Folks may be out and about, kids playing, it's summertime. We know it's going to be hot. The kids are outside playing anyway. You want to get the kids inside, even if you're not in the tornado warning. Damaging winds, lightning, heavy rainfall, all a concern with the severe thunderstorm warning. And then you have the added threat of rotating storms. And we have already seen rotating storms. I've seen a video from the National Weather Service of some rotating storms with this system that's moved through. It was up in Pennsylvania, but there was also a spotter that saw rotating storms on the eastern shore of Maryland earlier today. So we have that potential in place. That's why we have the tornado watch in place for the entire area until 10 o'clock. I don't think it's going to last all the way through 10 o'clock, but we have that in place. Just to show you, it's loading up here. That tornado watch is in place in the pink for most of Maryland. So any storm could try to rotate at any time. It just so happens that we are seeing it once again with a storm that is over the eastern shore, particularly Kent and Queen Anne's County. So I want to take you back to the radar just to show you an overview of what is happening. So we are watching this storm again as it continues to push off to the east. A pair of tornadoes go until 6 and then also 6:15. We've got a few storms west of the bay. They are certainly not as strong, but still producing very heavy rainfall. Not as much lightning, not in much as the way of damaging wind gusts, but we do still have some storminess. Anne Arundel County specifically, and then also some areas of Cecil County as well. Cutter.
Yeah, if we could go ahead now, why don't you go ahead and go down to the area just south and west of Sudlersville. The velocity couplet there was looking a bit more intense, and a lot of times you can get a very quick spin up along the leading edge of a severe thunderstorm like this. Again, just to the south and west this time at Sudlersville, kind of prompting that secondary tornado warning. You can see that little bit of a notch there. That is going to be just to the south of Maryland 300, exactly right there. And if we could switch over to velocity mode, saw something a little more impressive there a couple moments ago. You may have to take it back maybe 15 minutes there, Rachael, just to show people how quickly these things can come and go along the leading edge. This was just very near Maryland 300. We're winding it back for you now, bringing it forward. See, near the just to the west of the Barclay community. I mean, not that impressive, but just enough when you have these rushes of straight line wind. Any sort of, counter to that wind and you can get spin. And it just doesn't take much to get a quick tornado here, which is why you need to be in your safe space. The space that we were just talking about, lowest floor of your home, away from windows, and as many walls put between you and the outside dangerous conditions. And again, we did, and this is not something we see every day, but I would say pretty safely, Rachael, and you kind of ID'd this here a moment ago, that debris signature earlier with that spin, that area of rotation just to the north. Of course, the WJZ newsroom is going to be working with these county officials, Sheriff's Office in Caroline County, Kent, Queen Anne's counties, to see if there was damage. Now, that rotation itself was pretty brief earlier, but there were, there was some detection of debris there earlier, just to the north and west this time of Sudlersville with that earlier area of spin. So certainly the environment capable of producing tornadoes, and we may, not confirmed at all, but we may have had some damage produced as this storm moved through. And of course, the environment still capable of producing similar spin-ups here over the next hour or two.
Absolutely, Cutter, and we are watching a pair of tornado warnings. And as you mentioned, we're looking at the debris signature. So what this shows is something that's a different size than the things around it. And at that point, it would be rain, maybe some small hail, but we haven't seen too many hail reports so far for today. But I'm watching this little bit here. Now this, I'm going to pull it forward in time. It continues to move off to the east into that tornado warned area. Now it kind of falls apart within the last couple of frames, but certainly an area of concern with that. And then also the velocity showing that rotation. We had a little bit of something that was a little different. Now it's to be determined whether or not that was from a tornado actively on the ground. However, definitely a signal that we had some type of rotation, something going on the eastern shore with that there. So putting it back on radar, and our computer system is still detecting some of that rotation there.
Yeah. South of Sudlersville right now kind of looks to be the most near the Barclay area, right over Barclay. So earlier spin near Ewingville, possible debris detected earlier. Right now, I would say south of Sudlersville, that's going to be crossing Maryland 313. At least looking at the structure of the storm, more impressive. And I would imagine if we switch it over to velocity, at least some broad spin there. Wouldn't take much, Rachael, to get a tornado out of this, a spin up, looking at today's environment and the ingredients that are certainly in place over there on the eastern shore. So all the way to the Delaware state line, Peters Corners, Everett's Corner, Sudlersville, Barclay. You need to be in your safe spot. Rachael, we can probably go ahead and put a track on this all the way to the Delaware state line, just to give folks in the eastern part of these counties kind of an extra heads up as these storms travel off, roughly east-northeast or so over the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, so I'm just going to put just a small track just to the north and east. I've got it moving at about 35 miles an hour, and this is only going to take us through about the next 10 minutes. So Peters Corner around 5:55. This rotation potentially in your area. So this is the area that we are continuing to monitor. I'm not seeing any updates from the National Weather Service, but we do still have something of a broad rotation, as Cutter was mentioning. We don't have that tight, bright green and bright red. We're watching this area just around Sudlersville, Duhamel Corner Road, 300, 313. If you're hearing somewhere that's near you around the Sudlersville area, that means that you need to get to your safe place. And if we could pull up Max 2 once again, just to show what that safe place will be, Cutter can definitely help to explain where and why you want to be in that area.
Yeah, lowest floor of your home. I mean, this is stuff that we've talked about. We do school presentations on this for the kiddos and the students out there. Lowest floor of your home, hall, bathroom, closet, stairwell. And speaking, you mentioned, Rachael, earlier, it is summertime. There are kids at home and it's still a work day. If you're a kiddo, you're at home in Kent County, Queen Anne's counties, and your parents have told you to turn on WJZ as severe weather rolls in, we're here to keep you covered. Certainly not something to be scared of, but we're here to give you advice where to go, whether you're a student set on summer vacation or you're an adult at home or in your office building there on the Eastern Shore or your place of work. We're here to give you the latest updates. Put as many walls between you and the outside conditions, and that's because the most dangerous part of a tornado isn't the wind itself. It's what's blowing around, flying around in the wind. So these walls right here will protect you from the outside conditions. Of course, flying glass is a danger, so no windows. Lowest floor of your home, below ground is always best, like a basement. But if you don't have that, safest place would be like a stairwell closet. Maybe the hallway going from the dining room to the kitchen, or maybe in your kitchen pantry. Even if it's a little squished, that many times can be your safest place. And again, in the middle of your home, none of the walls in your room of shelter should also touch the outside. That's why the living room is a bad idea. That's an outside wall. Garage, bad idea. Garage door, an outside wall. Kitchen and bedrooms oftentimes have an outside wall. That's why the interior part of your home, lowest floor, Rachael, is going to be the safest bet. And bring a way to stay updated, to stream our coverage, CBS News app with you, or just go in your Safari browser on your Android or your Apple device and search, WJZ Watch Live. And you can click there on the live stream, and we're here to keep you updated. And we will be here for you as long as this warning is in effect, as long as these storms, Rachael, are threatening the Eastern Shore and surrounding areas.
Yeah, speaking of surrounding areas, I've zoomed our radar back out just to show you the state of Maryland as a whole. Now, as far as the severe weather goes, we are starting to see that tornado watch being trimmed back as expected. I was not expecting it to continue through 10 o'clock tonight. We were going to be quiet by 10 o'clock tonight in many cases. So Baltimore County, Baltimore City, Carroll, Howard, and Montgomery counties, you are no longer under this tornado watch. Your severe weather threat for tonight is pretty much done. Frederick County as well. We are still seeing some strong storms in Cecil County, but Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Carroll, Harford, Howard, Montgomery counties, you are no longer under that tornado watch. Areas to the east and south, not so much the case. We are still seeing some storms, and some of these storms could try to feed on the high levels of humidity that we have in place right now across the area and may try to strengthen a little bit more. We're starting to see a few storms developing into Calvert County, St. Mary's County. It was a little while that we were watching the storms, and they were just in Anne Arundel County. So we could see a few more starting to fill in as we go through the next couple of hours. But back to this tornado warning, this pair of tornado warnings that we're watching. Our main focus right now is going to be Queen Anne's County, just to the south and east of Sudlersville. This is a wide view. You can see that system moving through. I'm going to pause and continue to zoom in just to the south of Sudlersville. Again, watching Queen Anne's County a little bit more than other areas because of this risk for rotation. A lot of lightning, hundreds of lightning strikes within this storm as we are continuing to watch this pair of tornado warnings, and the lightning strikes just keep coming on our system that keeps detecting these. And I want to switch it back over. We're still seeing some broad rotation to the south and just southeast of Sudlersville right now. North and east of Barclay, if you're hearing us from Peters Corners, it is to the south and west of you. Duhamel's Corner, we're also watching that area for some broad rotation with this storm. So it's not as tight as it was a little bit earlier, Cutter, but that rotation's certainly there. Those greens and those reds bumped up against each other. So we still do have something of a couplet there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't take long for a broad rotation, something that's spinning slow and not producing a tornado, to tighten up very quickly. And for a tornado to drop, we could have seen this earlier near Ewingville. Again, we're working to reach out to the sheriff's office in these areas, see if they do have any reports of damage. First alert radar, debris tracker did detect what could have been debris blowing around. And again, as we zoom back out, no signs of debris between Sudlersville and Barclay. But again, new radar scan there, actually. It looks like closer to the Delaware state line. So if we zoom down in, again, definitely there's a clear slot there just to the south of Peters Corners. And that's why you kind of see that blue extending closer to the red. That's wind being sucked into the storm and kind of a rain-free area. That's why you see it going from red back to blue. But as we zoom down in, Rochelle, we'll switch it over to velocity now that we have some new data coming in. Definitely.
I just want to quickly. The National Weather Service in Mount Holly has confirmed a radar-confirmed tornado because of that debris signature that we were talking about a little bit earlier. That's going to be for Queen Anne's County. Again, radar-confirmed tornado because we saw that debris signature, something thrown up in the atmosphere, and they've just canceled the Kent County tornado warning, so we still have the one in place for Queen Anne's County.
Yeah, well, we're going to switch over to velocity here for you, give you a better idea as to where the rotation may be now. And it still looks like roughly that same area right now, relatively broad. This is right on the Busick or Busick Church Road corridor is going to be where the biggest rotation is. Keep in mind, this radar scan is a couple moments old, so it might be a little bit farther to the east of that. It looks like if we get another roadway on the map there off to the north and east, just a little bit, Rochelle. Not too familiar. Anderson Corner Road, and then off basically almost to the Delaware state line now. It's going to be this area, Ford's Corner and Butterpat Road, this area. If you know anyone that lives in this neck of the woods and you're not sure if they have a way to be alerted in extreme eastern Queen Anne's counties and surrounding areas, go ahead and shoot them a text, give them a call, let them know that there's rough weather in the area and a tornado warning is in effect. And we've seen several areas of rotation. Right now, the strongest is right on Busick Church Road, and it's moving off to the east and northeast. This is a bit of a ways away from any radar site. Nothing we can do to change that in the moment, and we're just going to have to keep that in mind as we look at data here. This is probably a couple hundred to a few thousand feet up in the sky. Nonetheless, clouds rotating, and we've had at least one radar confirmed tornado today up near Ewingville as we track debris on first alert radar. And now another area of rotation has is continuing to move off to the north and to the east. Rochelle, keeping a close eye on this one. We'll probably go ahead and put a track on it as it moves off to the north and to the northeast. Maybe for the next 30 minutes or so, just bring it all the way past the Delaware state line, just to give folks that extra first alert, that extra heads up. Right on the Busick Church Road corridor, moving off to the north and east as Rochelle puts that track on for you. And thankfully, a relatively rural area. Doesn't look like we're getting any communities to plot. Doesn't mean that folks don't live there. We know that they do. There are businesses, there are places of worship, there are homes and farmsteads in these areas. A beautiful part of the state where a lot of farmers and a lot of agricultural work is done, which is why we're here to keep you updated. There are folks out there, even though it's not Baltimore, we're in news time now, time 5:45. If you're just tuning in, getting home from the office, storms that blew up over Baltimore really strengthened south and east of the city over the bay. We are watching it as a first alert weather team. Storms continue to strengthen and now have been impacting the eastern shore for the better part of 45 minutes with at least one radar confirmed tornado earlier near Ewingville because radar was able to detect debris blowing around in the air. And first alert team, the WJZ news team, reaching out to these sheriff's offices to see what sort of damage did occur in and around Ewingville with that earlier radar confirmed tornado. But right now, spin being detected on Busick Church Road, south of Peters Corners, just to the north of Templeville. And again, if there's any positive here, it's the fact that it is avoiding all of these towns, these communities right now. But still, Busick Church Road, getting up towards Anderson Corner Road and the Delaware state line. This is going to move out of our viewing area here very shortly. Nonetheless, a place to watch. And again, this is just one of a couple tornado warnings, Rochelle, that we have in effect right now.
Yes, so they did take Kent County out of the earlier tornado warning. It's still in place until 6 o'clock, but we are watching the southernmost tornado warning in Queen Anne's County. So we've got two right now in Queen Anne's County for about the next minute and a half going into the 6 o'clock hour. And you do see a couple of different red polygons. Just to point them out, this is the northernmost one, this is the southernmost one, and this southern one is where we are getting that update that there was a radar confirmed tornado on the Maryland eastern shore this evening, and we're still watching rotation around this area. Busick Corner, south of Peters Corner, is slowly going to make its way into Delaware, Kent County, Delaware, included in that tornado warning as well. But we still have this rotation, Cutter, and that's been pretty consistent over the last few minutes. We may not have much showing up as far as the debris signature goes, but that storm is still spinning. It may not be on the ground picking things up and throwing them around, but you're seeing our indicator there of that spin that we were just talking about, and keep an eye on where that is. I'm going to switch it back over to the winds within the storm, and it's pretty close to the area that we're watching. Just another look at the winds within the storm. It's kind of still overlapping, not showing too much more as far as that rotation goes, but we do have that spin in the atmosphere. Confirmed tornado on the eastern shore this afternoon, and now we are heading into the top of the 6 o'clock hour. Thanks for joining us here on WJZ News at 6. We are monitoring a tornado warning on the eastern shore. I'm meteorologist Rachael here with meteorologist Cutter Martin. We have had a confirmed tornado on the eastern shore this afternoon. Tornado warning continues. I'm going to zoom out and show you the area as a whole, Maryland as a whole. This is the strongest storm that we're watching, is the one in Queen Anne's County, slowly going to make its way into Kent County, Delaware. So it's moving out of the state, but we do still have a number of showers and storms. But as far as lightning goes, potential for damage, this is the storm we're watching in Queen Anne's County, which has already produced a tornado, and we still have that warning in place until 6:15, so about 15 minutes left on this storm, and we know exactly where we're watching. There's a lot of lightning. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do a lightning count on this storm as far as how much we're seeing. I'm going to retry that very quickly, and we're going to look at the lightning that is in Maryland so far. So within the last 15 minutes, we've had over 250 lightning strikes with this storm. Now, this is north of where we are watching as far of that rotation that we do still have in place, but there can still be lightning. Very heavy rain is coming down within this tornado warning. It's very difficult to see because we have very high rainfall rates right now, along with that tornado warning, which comes in that red box. So we've got red returns on the radar and then a red box indicating where that tornado warning is. I'm going to try and highlight that if I can.
And it looks like just looking at reflectivity with a little bit of luck here, it looks like the most dangerous part of that storm may have just crossed the Delaware state line, and with this newest radar scan, I'd be interested to see, Rachael, what velocity. Yeah, it looks like now it's into Hartley, so now moving out of the Maryland area, and technically tornado warning is still in effect, but that area of rotation now much closer to Hartley after earlier being in kind of the Templeville area, well south of Peters Corners, and now kind of getting closer to and then crossing that Delaware state line.
And just to point out where the Delaware state line, I put it pretty much in the middle of the screen. And this is the area where the rotation is strongest into Kent County, Delaware. Kent County, Maryland, no. Kent County, Delaware is where we are seeing the strongest of the rotation, as Cutter mentioned, towards the Hartley area. So it has crossed the state line. There are still some very strong winds within this storm. We had lots of lightning out there as well. So we're saying that the rotation has passed Queen Anne's County and crossed into Delaware. However, there's still a very strong thunderstorm on top of Queen Anne's County and other areas of the eastern shore. Just going to zoom out just to show you that this is a widespread area. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning also in place along with the tornado warning. But we'll just have to wait a few more minutes, Cutter, for the National Weather Service to most likely take Queen Anne's County out of that tornado warning and then just stay with this severe thunderstorm warning, which I believe continues through 6:30 this evening. Lots of heavy rain within that warning, but even on the western side of the warning, on the eastern shore, lots of heavy rain around Centerville, and this is all moving to the south. I'm going to put the loop back on that so you can see that this is moving slowly to the south, but that one storm around Sudlersville, now crossing into Delaware. That's the strongest storm that we have seen so far for today. And as far as the rotation goes, we're thinking that is out of Maryland. It is now into Delaware. They are dealing with some of that rotation as far as that strong storm goes. But some areas still dealing with quite a bit of lightning out there. Heavy rainfall still a concern. Henderson down towards Greensboro. And you did see that they have extended that farther into Delaware. So again, kind of confirming they will eventually, most likely, drop that tornado warning early for Queen Anne's County. And we'll monitor that until they do so. But again, that threat for rotating storms in Queen Anne's County has come down significantly with that rotation crossing the state line. But as far as storminess goes, we still have it on the eastern shore. It hasn't completely cleared areas of Caroline County and Queen Anne's County just yet. We still have a very strong storm moving over some of those areas. And I'm going to pause it just to show you where that storm is. So again, northern Caroline County, eastern parts of Queen Anne's County, and a portion of Kent County around the Massey area is still dealing with a very strong thunderstorm, lots of lightning, and that lightning can travel. So even if the rain comes down in intensity, stay inside for a few more minutes. You're going to likely be hearing that thunder rumbling and roaring for a little while longer because this storm is certainly packing a punch cutter as it continues to move toward the east.
Yeah, and of course, as meteorologists, we're here to give you the first alert when that warning is issued, and also let you know when the threat is starting to decrease. And as Rachael was just saying, the area of rotation with that particular storm has crossed out of Queen Anne's County and moved into the state of Delaware. Warning remains in effect for the time being, hoping the National Weather Service office in Mount Holly, New Jersey, will drop that warning here momentarily, hopefully within the next few seconds for Queen Anne's County. But for folks in Delaware, if you know, that's a close-knit community, and of course, it's easy to go to and fro across the state line. A lot of folks that live in eastern Queen Anne's counties may work in far western Delaware, right along the state line. And if you know anyone in that area, east of Queen Anne's County, this is good advice. Again, lowest floor of your home, away from windows, and put as many walls between you and these dangerous outside conditions. This is the place to be if your neighborhood, your community, where you live or work happens to be under a tornado warning, which we do still technically have for a portion of Queen Anne's County's bathroom. The centermost portion of your home often is a hallway or maybe the stairwell closet. If you have a basement, that's your best bet. But once there, still try to go into a laundry room or a bathroom, something that puts yet another wall, a windowless wall between you and these dangerous outside conditions. Of course, Rachael, we're going to need to keep a close eye on Caroline County, Talbot County as well, as the atmosphere in those counties has kind of yet to be worked over by these storms. And while right now we're seeing a bit of a downward trend as far as the tornado potential is concerned, that could certainly change again over the next 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, because we still have storms out there where we haven't seen any activity so far this afternoon, now going into the early evening. So we continue to watch areas like down towards Talbot County, southern areas of Caroline County, where we have not seen any storms so far for today. We still have that untapped potential for some of that storminess. And I'm just keeping an eye on some of what the National Weather Service is saying. And they have taken Queen Anne's County out of that tornado warning as we anticipated. So no tornado warnings currently active. I'm going to zoom in very quickly just to show. Yes, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning, but no longer do we have that tornado warning in place for Queen Anne's County. Still a very strong storm moving around the Sudlersville area north of Henderson. Very heavy rainfall in northern Caroline County and other areas of Queen Anne's County, parts of Kent County, also dealing with very heavy rainfall. Severe thunderstorm warning that will continue through 6:30 this afternoon, or excuse me, this evening, but we are no longer under a tornado warning here in Maryland. But still some potential for a few of these storms to try and strengthen over the next little bit. The First Alert Weather Team is here for you. We're monitoring this as we do for you every time we have an alert day. And as folks are heading to and fro, we still have a little bit of some rain, couple of storms trying to bubble up southern Anne Arundel County down into Calvert County, Prince George's County, seeing a little bit of some storminess, and even towards Talbot County, we are watching a little storm trying to pop up out ahead of that line that we have been watching in northern parts of the upper eastern shore, Cutter.
Yeah, absolutely, Rochelle. Again, if you're just now joining us, time now 6:08. Tornado warning that was earlier in effect for both Kent and Queen Anne's counties has been allowed to expire, so no longer a tornado warning in effect, but we did have radar detected debris damage in Ewingville. They're on the eastern shore earlier, and of course, First Alert Weather team coverage will continue. Told we're going to toss the break very quickly. We're going to reassess, and we will rejoin you here in just a couple moments on WJZ News at 6.